London's pubs have long been the breeding ground for generations of great bands. In dark, dingy back rooms and bars, bands like Dr. Feelgood, Squeeze and Madness developed their individual sounds. In the early 70s, London's pub rock circuit was dominated by bands from Southend and Canvey Island. Based 30 miles from London at the mouth of the Thames, these bands laid the foundations for punk. Leaders of the pack were Dr. Feelgood with their brand of raw, aggressive R&B. They featured ace guitarist Wilko Johnson. Wilko's machine gun guitar style is still enthralling London audiences.
When I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, the Canvey Island was an isolated place. It's reclaimed marshland. We were all born below sea level, you know, and Dutch people built this place. It was kind of mysterious then. You know, it get very misty in the autumn time. This is where all the oil installations are. I used to come in when I was a child.
Southend boy Will Birch was the drummer in the Kersal Flyers. From his perspective both as a writer and as a musician, he's documented the Canvey Island and Southend scene.
This local scene, particularly Canvey, is often jokingly referred to as the Thames Delta, where bluesmen such as Wilko Johnson cut their teeth. Certain parts of Canvey do look a little bit like the South, the deep South of America. Bluesy sort of atmosphere. Wilko definitely derives a lot of inspiration from that, I think, in his songwriting.
I always grew up feeling like, you know, the Canvey Island was really a dull little backwater, and you know, when I got into my teens and I became interested in music, it seemed dreadful, really. It wasn't, you know, you didn't get here on a freight train. It wasn't down in Alabama. It was Canvey Island.
We always wanted to play in London, and really Southend was the place where we did our apprenticeship, I guess.
Local bands dreamed of fame, and the road to fame was the dirty A13. Night after night, these bands cruised the 30 miles to London in their beat-up transit vans, and they soon became major draws on the pub rock circuit.
They used to get packed out these places. It was free to get in, and the band would get about 25 quid from the publican for filling his pub up, and that was the arrangement. So you'd sit in the van afterwards, and you'd all get about 3 quid each out of it. But it was very exciting. Pub rock's a confusing term, really, because people think it's a kind of music. So I always call what we do rhythm and blues. I mean, nowadays that means something else altogether, doesn't it? But pub rock was really a kind of venue, which, you know, people played in pubs. Certain pubs in London were hot. In fact, it was Will Birch who first told us about the pub rock scene.
In London, the key pub rock venues were the Kensington, the Hope and Anchor, the Tally Ho, and a club called Dingwalls. The music wasn't anything particularly new. They were playing rhythm and blues, but they did play at a frenetic pace. But what was new or fresh about the Feelgoods was their look, the very, very radical short haircut, which nobody had seen since the 60s. It was sort of Beatle haircut in a way. And had a very mean stage act, and this was largely achieved because of the interaction between the singer, Lee Brillo, and guitarist Wilko Johnson. He'd dart across the stage left to right, audiences would just be completely agape at that. They would bounce off of each other, literally.
First of all, if we were playing either to small or in different audiences, we just wanted to have a good time, so we just started leaping about a lot and injecting a lot of energy into it. And I think Lee Brillo was really great to work with. you know, kind of guy everyone focuses on. It's very easy to work around with him. The year after that, the punk thing started, but I think a lot of those guys had seen Dr. Feelgood, and they were all kind of a bit younger.
The Feelgood audience was precisely the same people that would 6 months, 9 months later be going to see the Clash and the Buzzcocks and groups like that.
They were teenagers, these guys, you know, and they didn't really know, I mean, they didn't really know about American music or anything. And I think the thing they picked up from Dr. Feelgood was the energy. You know, I think it would be really exciting without any elaboration. In fact, the lack of elaboration made it the more direct, more exciting.
I don't think, really, that the Sex Pistols and the Clash could have achieved what they did unless their audience had been given a little bit of a clue in the preceding year, and the Feelgoods gave the audience the clue as to how things might go.
In 1974, shortly after achieving a #1 album, Wilko left Dr. Feelgood to pursue his own musical journey. You can still catch him in venues around London, captivating audiences with his unique brand of R&B.